Hello everyone and welcome to day 2 at the 2017 Glass Blown Open. I'm your host Terry Miller, the disc golf guy, joined by my much better looking counterpart, Robert McCall of Dynamic Discs. And Robert, again, day 2 at Glass Blown. I think we need to soak this in because this is not happening tomorrow.
That's right. We might need to change the name of this tournament because Glass Blown Open has become synonymous with heavy winds and rain and torrential downpours and really having to brave the elements. And there won't be much braving of any elements today. It's beautiful. So hopefully this holds on until tomorrow, but at least for today, we're going to enjoy some fantastic scoring conditions.
Well, 50 degrees and light winds with a little bit of rain yesterday. Gorgeous weather today and nasty stuff coming tomorrow. So these guys are going to want to go out, take advantage of these conditions. This beautiful course. We're at JohnE East, a very different look than what we saw yesterday. Give everyone a quick overview of what you can find on this course.
Yeah, JohnE East is I like it as a championship level course because the front 9 you really just have to manage. There are only a couple of available 2s to you. And then the back 9, starting on hole 10, you can deuce every hole now because of a couple of different pin positions. And so if our players can manage 1 or 2 under to He-Man par through the front 9, they can shred the back and turn in something really, really hot. And so it's all going to come down to that stretch from 3 to 7 where it's all par 4s. If our players manage that well and they get even just a few 2s on the backside, they can put together a really solid score.
Well, we're coming in at the 3 o'clock. The lead card, we hear Henrik Johansson along with Alex Geisinger are currently tearing it up. We're going to check in with them as we get started with our lead card. Again, this is Robert McCall, Terry Miller. Let's get to the action with your lead card at day 2 of the Glass Blown Open.
All right, everybody, thanks for coming out.
And again, we are ready and here for our 3 p.m. tee-off. And the call is being made in just a moment. Our leader, Paul McBeth, shooting a 10 under yesterday. He will be on the tee first to go.
California. Paul McBeth.
355 feet for hole number 1 here at JohnE East. Paul McBeth only getting about a third of that here. Seems to have cut that off a little early.
Yeah, he's been working a lot on his forehand, and I think first hole maybe a little bit of nerves, but also probably just not very warm, so he just sawed it off a bit.
And a perfectionist at the forehand attempt here is Nate Sexton. Looks to have gotten over the mound. The gallery likes it. There is a mandatory on this hole. None of the players would even think about going that outside right, or would they if they had the chance?
I think we would have seen actually a lot of big hyzers without the mando there, so this definitely brings a new element of challenge to the hole. That's the skinniest roller you'll ever see, and it is tracking really well. Assuming that curls back up the hill, Johnny's going to have an uphill putt. It sounds as if it's rolled out of bounds and rolled back in, so Johnny will have a good angle at the basket for his birdie 2.
Hey, we've got Canada, represented Zach Newhouse, who did the exact same thing last year, showed up on the lead card day 2. Great shot by Zach Newhouse, proving he's meant to be here today. He's ready to go. Let's check in with the women from earlier today, thanks to Central Coast and the Disc Golf Pro Tour. In fact, why don't you just cut out of it right away? Let's get back to Paul. Here he comes. And McBeth has a standstill blind turnover jump putt. Let's get back to the women's footage as they finish out hole 1. And Robert, from where we were on the tee, we actually could not see what was happening, but we were told that was rolling toward the OB, rolled into the road, and then it looks and appears as if it's come back in bounds, but I think JohnE McCray is going to confirm.
Yeah, if a disc is close to out of bounds, it's always the best play to have your card come over and check it for a couple of reasons. One, you want to make sure you abide by the rules, but two, if you just rush up there, they could call a penalty on you. Because if it's unsure and your card doesn't confirm, it's played as out of bounds. So JohnE's done the right thing here, and also just for your mindset, he's done the right thing here to know that you are safe. And he's actually on the preferred side of the basket. He doesn't have this downhill behind him, so looks like he's going to be about circle's edge for birdie 2.
McCray's attempt is just off the front of the rim, a little bit short with that uphill putt. He was making a comment. I'm not sure if he was talking to the putter or his basket or maybe a spectator behind the basket. I think that might have been the case. There seems to be a young player and maybe a mother or someone along that may have distracted him during his routine. And Sexton with the birdie 2 to open the round.
Yeah, no shocker there. This hole sets up perfectly for someone with a great forehand, and Sexton definitely has one of the top forehands in the world. And Zach Newhouse did, like we said, the same thing last year. Hot round the first round, and then had a really bad couple of rounds after that. So really exciting to see him get out to a hot start here.
And McCray and McBeth will both have to settle for McPars. That's my only one of those today. We'll see you guys on hole 2 in just a few moments. Sexton on hole number 2, going with a forehand and coming up considerably short. This is 300 feet with a slight uphill slant to it. He's got plenty of room off to that left. I'm surprised with the light touch that he gave.
Yeah, 300 feet is about in his wheelhouse, but he probably just laid off it a little too much. Looks like Zach Newhouse is going to go forehand as well. The line is really good if it travels to the right. Looks like he put a good amount of weight on it, so about pin high, maybe a little bit deep, but most certainly inside the circle.
And this is a must-get birdie here on Jones, arguably the easiest hole out here.
That's what I was going to say. Definitely the easiest birdie on the course.
And McBeth comes up just a bit short. The gallery likes it. JohnE McCray, fourth to tee.
JohnE takes a little bit lower hyzer line just to make sure he covers the distance, and it's going to sit pretty close to the basket, probably a couple feet deep.
Let's check in with the women from hole 2. Perfect. Nate Sexton from just outside the circle's edge. And the light attempt there was a little limp wrist there, I think he was motioning for.
Yeah, honestly, the speed would have been okay if the nose angle was a little bit better. It was just a bit nose down out of his hands, so didn't really have much of a chance to get there. JohnE McCray's disc landed a little farther away than we could tell from the tee box. Looks as if he's about the same distance as Nate Sexton, just on the opposite side of the basket.
And what you may have seen there is JohnE McCray started at the basket and took healthy strides to get to his disc. He wanted to clarify just how far away he was from the pin. That's a great way to do it. In and slowly flops out on that right side. These players are going to be kicking themselves later. Again, this is a must-get birdie that almost everyone at this tournament is going to be getting this weekend.
That's right. I'd imagine the average on this hole will be 2.5 or even a little bit better.
And barely the basket and barely making it in, but a 2 nonetheless.
Hey, in is in here. I'm always happy to get a 2. Yeah, it could be the ugliest thing in the world, and if it's in, it's in.
We're going to have a par 4 in just a few moments as McCray and Sexton tap in. There you have it. We'll be back in a few moments with hole number 3 here at Jones East. Dude, foot fault.
What?
Move your foot, dude. Foot fault.
Sorry. I'm Ricky Wysocki, and I'm wondering who's going to be the next generation.
Somebody's going to win a car. Is it going to be you?
And with the honors, we have Zach Newhouse on the tee. He opts for the hyzer. I think we're going to see most of the players go with the left to right shot here. It's kind of surprising to see Zach go with a hyzer off to the right side.
I think Zach was just playing for position there. So since he's got a very good forehand, he's got a clean look around the trees from that position. So he was probably just playing to get to the right side of the fairway.
And as Paul McBeth unleashes a monster turnover shot that's hyzering back out, I've got to ask Robert, I think I've seen this hole listed as a 4 and now as a par 3. Is it maybe switched up this year?
Okay, so it's a par 4 this year because we've moved the basket. So the basket used to be straightforward from the tee box, and now it's over to the right. Paul McBeth's probably inside the circle to the old basket, which will give him an easy up shot to the new.
And
That's a roadrunner. That's
yeah,
a roller.
Sexton going with the roadrunner, trying to fight up the hill, and it looked like it was moving up into the right. Maybe no real advantage there from what an air shot could have got him.
I don't think so. I mean, where that electrical box is a great landing spot. So he's in a very good spot to attack. JohnE just unloads on this. He's holding turn very well. I mean, I don't think this pin is very reachable, so he's put a great move on it.
Let's check in with the women from earlier today on hole 3.
So Zach Newhouse has opted for a forehand approach. He had a little bit tighter gap to navigate than we had thought, but he's put himself inside the circle with a forehand justice upshot.
Next will be Nate Sexton from just past the electrical box you mentioned earlier. Let's say he has approximately 150 feet to the pin.
That's a good guess.
Banks it off of a tree, and he'll still be fine from where he is.
Absolutely. That's no farther than 15 feet away. I actually really liked the pin change here, as the straightforward pin plays kind of like a par 3.5. It's not really deuceable for 98% of disc golfers, but if you four, it really feels like a bogey. This pin over to the right makes it so that you have to throw a couple of good shots, or at least one really good shot, to give yourself a look at a birdie 3.
And McBeth makes a major mistake here. He actually hits the post that holds the shelter.
It's hard to see if that's still on the concrete of the shelter, but if it is, that is out of bounds. So I assume he scooted in front of it, but that was a missed shot. And Johnny McCray takes it inside hyzer, skips a little past it, but he'll have about 25 feet left for his birdie 3.
And Paul is currently taking a look at the caddy book to confirm. I'm sorry, from my vantage point, I couldn't tell if Paul actually... And Paul, of course, lands in the grass. However, he's confirming if he's going to get relief. It looks like he is. So he'll be able to take the 1 meter from the concrete, as that concrete is considered out of bounds. Paul left with just inside 50 feet. Low out of his hand, catches the bottom of the pole. Just not really, not enough
to see it.
Yeah, not enough power. And what I'm surprised about, what I was trying to spit out, was the fact that it even plays slightly downhill. Right. So I'm surprised of the low release.
He had a bit of a low ceiling from his perspective as well. And as you were just watching the ladies, Lisa Fakis had a similar putt earlier today, and so I thought we might see a couple of those, but a little bit difficult right there. And with the downhill, you don't want to go past it.
And all of the 25 feet you mentioned for McCray to clean up. He's going to walk away with a solid birdie 3. And Zach Newhouse with a great start. He's looking to go 3 for 3 here on the opening holes out at Jones East. And Zach converts. Seems like maybe he has settled in. No nerves for this guy. I mean, lead card, GBO, ain't no thing.
I've been here before. No, Zach's a very good putter, and it looks like he's controlling his nerves well, which is good for him. Nate with a great dart up shot, so easy drop in 3 for these guys.
And McBeth, plenty of conversation. We'll talk about his hair when we come back in just a few moments. You're watching the GBO here at 2017 from Jones East.
I'm Ricky Wysocki, and I'm wondering who's going to be the next generation.
Somebody's gonna win a car. Is it gonna be you?
Hey Simon. What? You know who's next? Me? No, someone else. So just do it! Make your dreams come true!
And the first water shot that we have out here at Jones East, looks like Zach has very easily cleared the tee shot here.
Yeah, you can pick a hyzer and saw off, challenge as much or as little of the water as you want to. Zach got a good bit of distance. It looks like he may be stuck on a tree, but he's got a good forehand, so I think he'll have a manageable upshot. Nate Sexton's got a destroyer in his hand.
And if you're seeing any other players throwing possibly to some yellow baskets, that's actually the Jones West course. 36 holes featured out here on the property. And Nate getting more distance than we saw from Zach, and that's about as good as you can ask for.
I've seen better, but only from people taking a big flex ante over the trees. And so as far as predictable shots go, that was a huge one. Here's JohnE taking that flex I was talking about, and that is massive. If that starts to swing, he may have a jump putt at the basket. Oh dear, that's just a big shot. I don't think he got lucky with the late trees, but he's inside 150 feet.
This is another hole that is a par 4 that the players are hoping to be able to get up and down easily and card the 3. You shouldn't see too many 4s out here today. Paul McBeth trying to make light work of it. Looks like he's up and over, but caught up by a tree. We'll be back in a few moments with the women here on hole 4. McBeth and Newhouse with a brief conversation as to who's going to go first. Looks like McBeth will step up. And a routine forehand, just a bit short, but certainly within his 22-foot range or so.
Right, and if the players have gotten a few practice rounds here, they'll know that the grass near the basket is really grabby, and so you can land very close and play for almost no skip. Zach's gone with the same justice he used on the previous hole, gotten a little bit of skip because he threw it really hard, so he'll be at about 20 feet, maybe 15.
And both Sexton and JohnE McCray are able to move down the fairway. Looks like McCray will be next to throw. McCray known for being a relatively quick thrower. Sometimes we even miss a shot or two of his because he throws so quickly.
Yeah, and he throws so far down the fairway that you're used to looking at a certain place, and he's at a totally different place. And JohnE just puts it maybe 10 feet past the pin. Looks like maybe Sexton's going to go with a dart for his approach here. I'm interested in seeing if he runs this or just plays for the easy birdie 3.
And giving it a long run, but just not enough hyzer finish. And I don't think any of our dart throwers would be surprised by that there's no massive hyzer finish on that, but a very good looking line that's just right of the pin. And again, McBeth will be out with his 20, maybe 22 footer.
Right.
I'd like to again thank the Central Coast Disc Golf for going out, and as they were covering the women for their post-production round, which we invite you and encourage you to watch tomorrow in its entirety. However, they also worked with us for the footage to be able to splice into today's live round. And Steve Dodge of the Disc Golf Pro Tour helping out with that as well. Please check out the Festival of Flying Discs. That's taking place from 4 to 9 p.m. and it is right next to the Dynamic Disc retail store at 912 Commercial Street. So please go down there, check it out, play some of the games, have a good time, challenge your buddies, win some prizes, and check in with the Festival of Flying Discs.
Absolutely. And a good tip we can take from Sexton on that is the dart is a disc that not many people use, but it's nice and understable for those long putts. If you're having a hard time getting those long putts to the basket, try a disc like that.
And they'll tap in. We're going to have a brief hold up on hole 5. We'll be back in a moment.
Has this ever happened to you?
No!
Have you ever been playing disc golf and thrown your favorite disc in the water? Don't go poking at it with a stick. Don't hurt your feet walking on rocks to get to the water, and the water is much too cold to go in yourself. Introducing the Dynamic Discs Golden Retriever. The Golden Retriever is designed to retrieve sunken golf discs from the bottom of water hazard. It only takes a few seconds and is exceptionally easy to operate. Simply tug on the Golden Retriever's throw rope to unfold it. Then toss it beyond the golf disc and pull across to retrieve. As it skims across the bottom of the hazard, it will scoop and retain the disc. Don't get mad. Get the Dynamic Discs Golden Retriever.
Thanks, Golden Retriever.
Thanks, Golden Retriever.
And welcome back, everyone, to hole number 5 here at the Jones East course. We are currently waiting on a few other competitors. I believe hole 6 has players on the tee, and with some of our players going with the aggressive route, they're going to wait for hole 6 to clear out. I believe I see Kale Leviska throwing his tee shot on hole number 6. There's a number of par 4s back-to-back out here. In fact, holes 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 are all par 4s out here at the Jones East. It's quite a stretch. You talked about it earlier, Robert, that it's a matter of holding on throughout that stretch and hopefully racking up a few threes.
Right. As far as disc golf holes generally go, these are a few of the slightly easier par 4s that you'll see on a course. Hole 3 and hole 4 are relatively simple. They have lots of different options off the tee. Hole 5 can be eagled, and I think we'll likely see several people go for the green in our windless conditions today. Hole 6 can actually get you in a little bit of trouble, and then hole 7 is, I honestly think it's a really good, difficult par 4. However, it is entirely possible for not even top pros, but just people playing consistent golf to get threes on each one of those. And if you've done that, you've picked up, I don't know, probably 3 or 4 strokes on the field. It's a very important stretch to get your birdies on and not push for anything crazy.
Zach Newhouse still has the tee here on hole 5. And Newhouse here is opting for the layup zone, we'll call it, and it looks like that has carried, and it is in fact safe. And no surprise, we see a forehand here for the layup zone by Nate Sexton. We just also caught some news about Simon Lizotte. How's he doing?
Yeah, well, he just went ahead and went eagle on 4 and 5, so that's a deuce and then another deuce. That's good.
And McCray goes to the same area, and what we're going to see here by Paul McBeth is him going for this. Every time I've seen him play this hole, he's in fact gone for the eagle. Let's see what he can do here. And McBeth is asking for it to go right, but he feels like that's got too much stability, as we see. Wow. And he is not pleased with it, but it's going to work. Let's see how the women attacked this hole earlier here on hole 5. see 3 discs all within a few feet of one another as JohnE McCray is first to throw. McCray has approached to within 15 feet of the pin. Nate Sexton will be second to approach.
No surprise to see Nate go forehand here. Hits right by the basket and gets a little bit of a squirrely roll away, but I think he's probably around 20 feet. And I guess next to last to throw because McBeth is way up there. Third to throw will be Zach Newhouse. He's got a lucid suspect for his approach. The line is good, the height is good. He's just a few feet deep. Great shot.
And Paul McBeth, who thought he may have gone wide left, certainly with a misfire. However, it seems to check up and finish inbounds. This is for Eagle.
Just low the whole way. He had a tree in between himself and the basket, and so didn't really have the height that he needed to push that. But I mean, it's a birdie 3. Let's get real for a second. I wish all my bad shots looked like Paul's bad shot right there, where I'm 60 feet out on a uphill 480-foot hole. But I wish a lot of things, so there's that.
Easy cleanup for Nate Sexton. He'll take the 3 here. Of course, all 4 competitors in position for birdie 3s.
JohnE McCray is one of the best putter throwers in the world, so he just went putter, 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 3. And dead in the center, Zach keeps the streak alive. He's gone 5 for 5 to start this round.
And McBeth will clear out the birdie 4 string. We're moving on to hole 6 after a word from our sponsors. You're watching the GBO 2017.
What does it mean to grow the sport? Some of us want to see it on TV. Some want to see big crowds of spectators. Maybe all of that will come true. Right now, I just want to get out and throw. I just want to watch my disc fly. Just me and the course.
Hi, I'm Hannah Leatherman, and you're watching live disc golf on SmashBoxxTV.
Zach Newhouse gets the rim of the disc up. Unfortunately, it floats right into some of the earlier trees. And we'll see what Nate Sexton does too. And no surprise, Sexton again a forehand. That's an Excalibur.
Yep, Star Excalibur, huge safe forehand, well in front of the drop zone. Should set him up for an easy look at a birdie 3.
McCray ripping a low line drive to the right side, and with some of the trees, he gets caught up.
That was a good tree hit because there is out of bounds right that disc was tracking toward.
And trying to make a slight adjustment from what we saw from JohnE McCray. That's wide right. Is that going to get back in bounds? The spotter is running it down. Looks like it should be green, and it is. We'll be back in a moment after seeing the women on hole number 6. Zach Newhouse with a forehand after taking a look. He's looking for the spotter and gets hesitant green flag.
Hesitant green flag is still a green flag, so very good, Zach. Zach had a pretty good line on that mid-range shot, just a little bit high, hit a branch and actually rolled down to the left, and so that's what opened up the opportunity for him to take that forehand shot and give himself a look still at birdie 3. He may be a little ways out, but he's salvaged that drive pretty well, I believe.
And McCray with a standstill approach gets a little bit of a skip, also gets the green flag. And speaking of flags, Robert, I'm looking off to the flag that we see on hole number 7, and I got to tell you, I'm surprised it is completely at ease.
Yeah, no wind to speak of out here at all. It's beautiful weather. Nate Sexton opts for the spike line on his forehand. It's spiked right by that tree, probably about 15 feet from the basket.
It looks like as if Zach Newhouse's approach did come up short, flirting somewhat with this left side OB, but at this point with the downhill slope, he should be just looking to lay this up and walk away with the par.
That depends on how saucy he's feeling today. And from what I know about Zach, he might be feeling a little saucy. He's actually, like I said, a very good putter. If I'm standing over this putt, I probably lay up just because of the slope, but he might be running it.
And that appears to be a layup right next to the pin. I would say that's a very smart move on his part. He's got a tremendous start here going this round. There's no reason to give away a stroke or two and go after a putt that's that far away.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you, and that's another tip for if you're out there and you...
Agreeing with me?
Yeah, well, sometimes. No, if you get a hot start to your round, sometimes it's really easy to get greedy and to think, oh, I'm already this far along. I need to just keep pushing. Zach's made the exact right play.
And that is a Very easy birdie there. Now, is this the best drive you have ever seen?
100% yes. I mean, 10 feet for eagle on hole 6. That was a beautiful drive.
And the gallery erupts as they should. I cannot even believe I just saw how close that was. McCray taps in with the overhand turbo putt, so we see a 2, 2 threes, and a 4. We've got a straight going. Let's move on to hole 7.
For me, it's time with my friends.
For me, it's a walk in the park.
For me, it's my job.
For me, it's fun.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, along with Robert McCall. And Robert, we've seen some really good golf to get this round started out here at Jones East. The conditions are great. The course is looking great. The gallery is great. Yeah. Dynamic Discs is great. Everything's great. What's going on?
I agree personally that Dynamic Discs is great. Also, you're looking sharp today. Look at this here. Look at this here. Oh.
Blinging it out. We have to give the huge shout out and thanks to Jeremy Rusko. He wanted to outfit our cameraman and myself. I figured I don't have the hair that you do. I don't have the commentary you do. So the best I could come along with, I don't have the physique that you do. But the best I could do is match.
Similar shirts.
We could have similar shirts. So that's what I'm here for. We're getting back to the action. This is a very challenging par 4. We just saw the green flag being waved. Let's get to it. This is the lead card at GBL. And Robert, what the players are going to be doing is a hyzer up and over us here. Paul McBeth is on the tee after that massive eagle to a drop-in eagle 2 on the previous hole. And this hole is very blind, and it's another par 4. Here comes McBeth. And he's gone up and over us. And it actually looks like it might be in bounds.
It's pole and cable that's out of bounds.
The pole, oh, okay, thank you. Robert McCall's telling me that it is the pole and the cable, in fact, that are the OB line, not the concrete. If that's in fact the case, then it looks like, yes, he is getting the flags. And that is an unfortunate break for Paul McBeth. He's wide right. Paul will have to see it when he gets up here. One conversation that has to be talked about, if we're thinking about last year, we're thinking about the World Championships, and this was a hole where there were some rules that were played, and there was a little confusion. Paul McBeth played it differently than a number of other players, and after the round, he realized it, or actually the next day, and he brought it to the TD and the staff.
That's exactly what happened, yeah. And, I mean, big time integrity move on Paul's part. As we see Nate just crushing. I mean, he's in the garden. That'll be an easy hyzer up shot for his birdie 3. But what happened is on this hole, there's a big fairway and then an island green that's separated from the fairway. And in order to advance to the island green, you have to land safe on the island. If you cross through and don't land safe, then you may not advance to the island. JohnE McCray's thrown so far that he's cleared out some spectators. Looks like he's gotten some applause, so he is safe, and that's a great angle into the green. But what Paul is going to have to do, since he is OB, is play from the drop zone for his 3rd shot.
And Zach's able to go with the forehand. He's going to find himself caught up on a tree on the left side. We'll check in with Paul and the rest of the group from the women in just a few moments here on hole number 7.
Sit. Ready?
And Paul McBeth had moved over to the drop zone. He gets a green flag. Seems like his troubles are continuing here on hole 7.
Yeah, he actually skipped off the parking lot, hit the wire, came back down inbounds, and rolled out of bounds. And so it was just a really unfortunate break for Paul there. His shot to the drop zone ended a little bit short, so he's going to have 30 to 40 feet at least for a look at his par 4. I'm honestly surprised he didn't go with a forehand there, as the drop zone has a wide open left side of the green and 3 very, very thick trees on the right. But I don't usually like questioning people who are rated 1050, so I'm going to say he probably made the right play.
Yeah, that 1050 plus club, which recently we've seen Ricky Wysocki also join in the what am I trying to say? Just recently, we've seen him join that club as well, and him and McBeth going back and forth. And Zach looks like a solid approach shot there. Gets the green.
That's right. He had to do a little patent pending, which is almost a backwards facing shot. If you haven't heard of those before, as he was stuck in the tree right there, but threw a nice little hyzer to what looks like about 20 feet.
And McBeth collects his drive. Nate Sexton with his caddy, talking about how they're going to approach the island green area. Now, we are actually really close to the T8 area, and when JohnE McCray had thrown his long drive, he cleared out some of the players you mentioned that were really standing around and waiting on the next tee.
That's right. That tee is definitely reachable for our power throwers, but if you were close to that tee, you've got a really available angle into the green. The difficulty of approaching Sevens Green is that the thick trees, you can hit them and fall straight down, and that's great. But usually if you do that, you're about 30 feet away from the basket, facing downhill with OB behind your putt. And so it's actually a tricky approach to get it close to the basket.
And McCray has a standstill approach. A little bit of Anheuser coming in at the downward slope. And he should have easy cleanup for 3 from there. We mentioned this string of par 4s and how our players will be able to attack them moving through holes 3 through 7. They're going to move on to hole 8 in a moment, which is a par 3, and then they go back to another par 4 on hole number 9. That's the last one. Next will be Paul McBeth here for what I believe is his 4.
Yeah, Paul's good. As I said, it's relatively easy to get onto the green, just to hit a tree and fall down. It's pretty hard to get close. Paul hit the first tree, the closest tree to him, so the farthest from the basket, but still was able to convert from certainly outside the circle to save his par 4. This is Zach Newhouse for a birdie 3.
Off in a distance, we hear Big Germ converting on a birdie putt, as does Zach Newhouse here on hole number 7.
That was an underratedly difficult upshot that Zach just threw backwards to an island green. It was very tough, and he made it look easy, so props to him. Nate Sexton is in for an easy birdie 3, and the same for JohnE McCray.
We're moving on. We'll be back in a moment from hole number 8 here at Jones East. Nate Sexton with a star Excalibur on the 370-foot, slightly downhill, hole number 8. He's come up short with his forehand.
I like this shot because you can basically throw whatever disc you want to, from distance over down to even a mid-range. It's just about controlling the distance.
And JohnE McCray with less than full power here on this downhill shot.
Yeah, he went with the Lucid Enforcer right there. He's gone a little bit deep and might have ended in the parking lot. We're waiting on, it looks like he has gone OB. However, he will not go to the drop zone. He'll play from where he went out in the parking lot, so he'll still be inside the circle for a par 3.
Forehand approach here by Zach Newhouse. What's he throwing?
I'm not sure what that one is, to tell you the truth. I think it's an Enforcer, but I could be super wrong. We talked about it right before the round. It did have a Drew Gibson face stamp on it, so it's probably a good Frisbee.
I'm sorry. And with a gentle turn, we're going to see if that catches any edge as it tries to hyzer out, and it hits a tree. McBeth looking for a little redemption here. We're moving on hole 8. Right away, come back right now, and then I'll cut to it after the hole.
Wow, bang, bang, Zach. Zach opted for the forehand line, finished left of the big tree, and from a knee made a great hyzer putt. Wow, that was a really good putt.
Great putt, and his caddy, 3-time world champ, Paige Pierce, on the bag, also on the Instagram. She got it from his perspective. And Nate Sexton converts on the birdie, and I got to say, his caddy not doing the work that Paige Pierce is. He gave a little body English for that. He willed that one in, but I don't see him doing any Instagramming.
That's right. I mean, he probably needs to pick up his game. I don't know if he's getting paid or not, but now he's definitely not getting paid.
And Nate Sexton and JohnE McCray are going to confirm where he was last in bounds. He's going to take the position, and a few inches could matter here because that tree could come into play. It doesn't appear that it will, but if he was a few feet to the right, though, it would, in fact, his right, it would come into play, but I think he'll be fine. I'm expecting a par save here. And my expectations were off.
Yeah, I thought he would make that too, and I didn't want to jinx any of our competitors, but this basket is slightly higher. It sits on a very small berm, so it's about 6 inches higher than most of the other baskets we'll see out here.
And McBeth asking a few spectators to stay in position. Right side chain, but in for McBeth on the straddle putt.
Well, he deserved, even without right side, he deserved for that to stay in after hitting that little metal pole that holds the tree up. A little unfortunate break, but doesn't matter to his score.
We are well aware of a slight backup taking place on hole number 9 as we're going to move into the back half here at Jones East. We're glad you could join us. It's a gorgeous day out here. We're going to be back with you in a few moments after a word from our sponsors right here at the 2017 Glass Blown Open.
So you've just walked into a disc golf store. Look at all that sweet plastic. So many new discs to try. But you have your trusty compadres. Why would you want to try something new? What if you don't like this new disc? Rest easy. When shopping at any of our buyback retailers, if you are not completely satisfied with a disc from Dynamic Discs, Latitude 64, or Westside Discs, bring it back within 14 days with proof of purchase and we will replace it with whatever disc you want. It is that simple. Now get out there and play some disc golf. Check out dynamicdiscs.com/retail to find a buyback retail partner near you.
This is Bobby from Dynamic Disc, and I'm here to tell you about a product called Dymax. Dymax is the proprietary process we use to put the most detailed images on a disc. We can Dymax your tournament discs, or even send us your trophy discs. Send us an image and we'll Dymax it.
Can I Dymax my car?
Yeah, we can Dymax your car.
Can I Dymax my cat?
Yeah, we can Dymax your cat. Isn't he cute?
Can I Dymax my lunch?
Well, that's kind of weird, but yeah, we can Dymax your lunch. Go online today to order from our pre-made Dymax discs or send in your image so we can create your custom Dymax. Learn more at dynamicdisc.com/Dymax.
The Glass Blown Open Trophy. This is one of the trophies that a lot of players want in their collection of awards because of the uniqueness of the Glass Blown Trophy. And that's actually where we got the name Glass Blown Open. Hal Berger, a world-renowned glass blower, created the trophies for the event, and it really added to the value and the prestige of the event, and so we changed the name to the Glass Blown Open. And now you know how we got the name Glass Blown Open. So, this guy's heavy. Oh God. Just kidding. What did you just do?
I'm stamping this misprint.
Yeah, but you triple stamped the double stamp.
Yeah?
You can't do that.
Can't do.
Cannot.
Can't do.
Cannot.
Can't do.
You can't triple stamp a double stamp. You can't triple stamp a double stamp. You can't. Eric!
Guys, enough!
You want to hear the most annoying sound in the world?
Hello everyone and welcome back. We are just seeing the second card throw their tee shots. I'm going to join Paige Pierce in just a moment. Right now Simon Lazat's on the tee. What are you seeing here, Paige?
a huge turnover that looks like it's getting to the basket. I asked him how he's doing. He said he started off with a bogey, but he's got 2 eagles since, and this might be a 3rd one.
Well,
wow. Yep. Wow.
The gatherer loves it. Big Germ has taken off his hat and is in disbelief at the moment. So, Paige, we don't want to spoil how things went entirely for you today because we're showing the women's coverage right now, and they're enjoying that. Thanks again to Central Coast, along with Steve Dodge and the Pro Tour. But talk about the weather out here, because you always have to talk about weather at the Glass Blown, but this is unbelievable.
It is. I mean, we played, it was overcast, and it was overcast and chilly, and right now the clouds are out, but you can still see the blue skies, and I'm sweating. So it's interesting. Always is in Emporia.
It is, and tomorrow I don't think we're going to have quite the same. I think we should bring some bonus coverage. You want to help call the shot over here on Jones West? Let's do this. This is a first. We'll get into position. And in fact, again, this is an intersection that has hole number 12 along with hole number 9. So this is 12 from the west course. And what we can do, Paige can call some shots with our division playing on the Jones West.
Came out a little bit early, but she's on the edge. She's going to have a relatively easy up and down. That one was a little bit better. Got quite a bit more distance, and she's looking at about a 40-footer.
Forehand low that comes in just short and gets caught up.
Oh, looked like she wanted it to go a little bit more left. It kind of snuck into the right side, but she said she's got a shot out of there, so we'll see.
A hole that doesn't necessarily set up well for a lefty as the women move down here on hole number 12 at the West Course. Robert, what did we see there, and how would you attack hole 12?
This hole 12?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, sorry, I'm flabbergasted by what happened over here on 9, so we'll get to that in a minute.
Okay.
But hole 12, I like just taking an overstable putter, or I guess really just a stable putter. I throw a Warden right here, just straight at the basket. The mistake to make is to go left at the end, because if you go right, you can bring 4 into play. It's gross in those trees. But over to the left, you usually got a putt. Now, hole 9, Simon played it pretty much how I play it, so I'll tell you how I usually play it, and then it'll be basically the same. So there's a fairway, a downhill, pretty narrow fairway, and then there's an opening in the trees on the left, and big forehands and lefties, they always go through that gap just to land on the fairway. While Simon, and me, but Simon this time, launched it through that gap on a backhand and hider and made the green, made it safe back in bounds. I mean, it's 726 feet to that. Downhill, yes, but that number starts with a 7, and he just went for it and made it. So, yeah, he's good.
Well, he has been very impressive here today. Paige was just updating us, letting us know that Simon, in fact, carded the 2 eagles earlier. We saw one by Paul McBeth on hole number 6, and that was very impressive as well. What are you seeing out here in terms of Zach's mental state of mind? He's on this lead card. He was here last year. You're on the bag. What are you seeing?
You know, it's starting good, and he's seeming positive, calm, and he's ready to finish this round out. I know last year we had a lightning delay, and you know it was pretty miserable. So he's just happy that it's dry, and he's throwing well. So keep it going.
It's been very impressive. Walk us through that last putt. First of all, I think you caught it on Instagram, but walk us through that last putt. What were you thinking as he knelt down for it?
Well, off the tee, his release looked great. The slight crosswind kept it a little flat, a little longer than he wanted. But I told him that he probably has a putt because he came up short of that yellow stake. I was just past that yellow stake and had nothing. So I was like, hey, I know this for a fact. I was there earlier. You're a little bit shorter than me, so you're going to have a straddle. I didn't expect him to drop to the knee, but he is taller than me.
Yeah.
So, you know, he felt confident the second left his hand. For some reason, I thought he was going to make it. That's the first shot I videoed today, and you know, maybe I'll just video the rest of his shots.
You should, 1 for 1, exactly. Now, what we noticed was that Nate Sexton's caddy was not doing any video. Give some caddy tips out there.
I mean, also I just filled up Zach's water bottle, and he went over there and filled up his own water bottle, not his. So
wow, fired.
I mean, hey, you gotta step it up.
If you were to give yourself a caddy rating, as we see with the disc golf ratings, what would you say you are as a caddy?
Oh man, for Zach Melton about a 9-10, but for Zach Newhouse maybe closer to 10-10.
Okay. And what's the reasoning? Just the hair?
You know, we just constantly mess with each other. He's like my big brother that I never had, so we're always messing with each other, and I think on the disc golf course might not be a good time to do that, we've found out. So maybe we'll have to try something new next time I caddy for Zach.
Well, nonetheless, it sounds like you're having a great time. We're enjoying beautiful weather. I joked yesterday that we may have just set a new record for a lack of wind in Emporia, and today I think we broke the record again.
It's crazy. Absolutely. Yeah, the flags aren't even moving. You can't see any movement in the trees or anything, so it's interesting. I don't expect that to happen 3 days in a row, though.
Well, we'll see. Well, what we weren't necessarily expecting was some heroics on the next hole. I think we're going to have a little flashback on hole number 10. I don't know if you recall a few things happening there. Do you want to kind of set up what they might see in a few minutes?
Hole 10, I got an ace. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay, yes, I got an ace on hole 10 at World Doubles. That was awesome. So, yeah.
Okay, well, they're going to see that. I think we've pulled that out of the archives, and then
nice.
heroics also on hole 11
nice.
by Billy Engel a couple years ago.
Aced as well.
He aced as well. Sports Center, the second ever Sports Center ace. So
I'm excited to see Zach throw it. I think he's going to line up a sidearm here. This is my Lucid Defender that I gave him 3 days ago. We played a couple practice rounds, and he lost the Lucid Defender, and I gave him this hand-eye stamped one. It's stiff and domey and really overstable. I'm guessing he's going big sidearm here, just playing for the easy 3. So we'll see if JohnE goes for it. Honestly, the shot JohnE threw hole 3, if he throws that shot again, he could be coming in close to Simon. Maybe not quite as far, but the same line.
Okay.
Let's see how confident he is, and maybe he'll go for that.
all right, we've got more women moving in on 12 on the west course. We're going to get into position on 9 on the east course. Our 10-10 rated caddy and 3-time world champion Paige Pierce. Thank you for the insights. We'll catch up with you in a few holes. Let's get back to the action right here at the Glass Blown Open.
Hey, T-Dog. What's up, bro?
Hey, buddy.
Great upshot.
Hi, Terry.
Again, people everywhere. We see Brian Schweberger is on the bag. Yeah, Brian Schweberger is in fact caddying and taking scores here on the Jones West course, along with, I believe, one of the advanced women's cards.
Heads up, the ladies are live.
And we are, again, going to get out of the way here. Sorry, there seems to be a little extra commotion going on. This intersection of 12 and 9. And hitting the pole. Great shot from the card here on hole number 12. Abby Farrow is on this card. I believe she said she was leading after yesterday's round. I believe the next woman to tee goes by Shay Nasty out of Alaska. Met her while traveling to Hilltop Ski Area last year. And that is short, catching the left side of the trees. Again, she typically plays up in Alaska. Great time if you ever get a chance. Please go up and play and visit at King of the Hill. A phenomenal disc golf tournament as Abby throws off to that left-hand side, as Robert McCall had talked about earlier. And the final drive, unfortunately, also hitting the left side. Scoring update in Paul McBeth at 15 under par, Nate Sexton at 14 under par, Zachary Newhouse at 13 under par. Johnny McCray sitting at 10 under. And of course, you can go out to pdgalive.com for all of your scoring needs and information here at this PDGA National Tour.
I actually just got confirmation from McBeth and Sexton that Simon did in fact get the Eagle 2 on this hole. So that's good.
That's ridiculous. Let's move in. Nate Sexton will be first to tee.
If you have a powerful forehand, this is certainly the way to play the hole, and Nate Sexton qualifies for that. Looks like he's thrown a great forehand to the center of the fairway, which will give him a good angle at approaching the screen. Zach Newhouse has opted for the same shot. I believe it's wide enough. And Zach has come in perfectly in the middle of the fairway. And I do need to correct myself. The way to play the hole is how Simon did. You just drive it all the way and make it.
McBeth with a forehand destroyer here, playing it out to the center of the fairway. Johnny McCray will be flat to tee. Again, McCray sits at 10 under par. And he opts for the low line drive and pures the shot all the way down the center of that fairway. And it's beautiful. Let's check in with the women from hole 9 earlier today.
Thank you.
Great shot, man.
Nate Sexton's opted for the Sexton Firebird forehand. He's played it very, very well. As long as that sits down, looks like he's going to be in prime position for a birdie 3. The benefit of playing over the road is you can get a skip off the road and be inbounds. However, if you play it like McBeth and happen to slide in straight, you're going to be a little farther away from the basket than you think.
And McBeth with a gentle turn to that, as you said. If it needs to slide, it will. It may not have slid all the way to the pin.
I mean, that's in his range for sure. He's probably 25-30.
And Zach may have released that just a bit early. That's heading hard right. Is that flirting with OB? It must be.
It is flirting with OB. Looks like he's found out of bounds, so he'll have about 30 to 40 feet for a par 4 save.
We invite you to please go out and like and share the link that you're watching the live disc golf here, SmashBoxxTV, Dynamic Disc, wherever you're finding it, whether it's Facebook or YouTube. Please go out and share it. Let everyone know you're watching live disc golf. We'll be here tomorrow in Emporia. We'll be at the Emporia Country Club for Championship Saturday. Johnny McCray playing a very sharp-edged disc here.
Yeah, he chose a stiletto there and just played a little wide hyzer. Caught an early tree, but he should be inside 10 feet.
And a gallery's dream area coming up here, in that we have the green of 9, you can see the tee of 10, the green of 11, really the tee of 12, and the basket. This is just really a good position for the hundreds of people that have gathered out here. They can take in plenty of golf just standing in one position. So you're going to hear a lot more crowd and gallery interaction here in the next few holes.
After only his second really only imperfect shot of the round, Zach's left his 40-footer a little over the basket. Looks like he's got 20 left to save his bogey 5.
And McBeth, I think he needed that little extra push as we feel the gentlest of wind drafts come through here. We're finally seeing a flag with the DD stamp on it, blowing in the wind, a little bit of a headwind, and McBeth converts. Nate Sexton's looking to do the same with a much easier putt than what Paul was just faced with.
And this cage is a little bit higher than the others, as I mentioned. Holes 8 and 9 are a little bit higher in the ground, and Nate Sexton just left his a little bit low. Might have been a little scared of the headwind lifting it too high, but he's going to have to settle for a par 4. As I mentioned earlier, we saw Paul McBeth's disc slide off the road and look as if it was inside 20 or 25, but he was a little farther back, made quick work of it. This will be Zach Newhouse for 5. And it's over the basket and probably just as far on the other side. He's got a testy 20 to 25 footer for his 6.
And Zach really is going to need to maintain his composure. We know he is a very solid putter and a very calm individual, but he really needs to focus here. He's taking just a moment collecting his thoughts. Let's hope he can convert here. Low and left, but in, and Zach saying, just get me off of hole number 9. He'd like to forget this one already.
Absolutely. Honestly, that's probably the best 25-footer he's made in maybe forever. It's so tough airballing a couple of times to make that next putt, so good on him.
And Sexton will tap in as we're seeing the third card off in the distance. We'll have second card. We'll be back in a few moments with hole number 10, the heroics of Paige Pierce. And welcome back. We are standing here on the hole number 10's tee. However, the congestion I mentioned a few moments ago means that our second card is putting out on hole number 11. So the entire gallery, along with our lead card, is going to stand down for just a few moments. We just witnessed Cale Laviska with his birdie attempt. Now Devin Owens is putting back at the basket. He landed left of the pin. Looks like he's got just inside 25 feet for birdie. And Devin's efforts come up short, hitting the front of the basket. I got to admit, Robert, I'm surprised about how many I've seen hit front basket here today. Are people scared?
I mean, maybe so. I don't know. There are just so many birdies to have out here. You know, as I said, we've got that string of par fours, all of which are threeable. You feel like you need to get a lot of them. I don't know. Every hole out here is accessible. So when you take a par, sometimes it almost feels like a bogey, because we see people, you know, like Zach Newhouse started out 7 under through 8, and I mean, I think Paul McBeth and Nate Sexton were on a similar pace, and so they really want it.
And as we move into position, it looks like Paul McBeth is on the tee ready to go.
Paul's opted for his T-bird 3, and out of his hand he says, "Oh my." He finishes over to the left. That's going to be just outside the circle, looking downhill at the basket, maybe 35 to 40 feet. JohnE McCray is next to throw with what looked like a mid-range to me. It's hanging in the air perfectly. Oh my goodness, just over the right rim of the basket. Fantastic throw by JohnE McCray. Nate Sexton goes to his trusty forehand again with an Excalibur, looking for a skip. Gets a smaller skip than he would have liked, but he'll be inside 20 to 25 feet for his look at birdie. And last to tee will be Zach Newhouse.
And Zach Newhouse is short and left. We'll see how the women did earlier on 10, and we'll see who could capitalize on the ace opportunity. Zach Newhouse almost converting here on the long birdie putt. Paul McBeth has a downhill putt with a straddle. And And just when we thought he had that straddle putt dialed in, it seems like that one was almost a complete misfire.
That was a surprising miss, considering the amount of straddle putts that Paul has been making lately and completely shifting his putting stance to straddle. I thought he was going to make that, but he failed to draw medal.
And an obstructed putt by Nate Sexton turns into a birdie. We also hear that one of the top players in the game, Will Schusterich, is out on the board taking in the Glass Blown Open. Will, we miss your presence here. We hope all is well with you and Trish. I know he said earlier he wanted to take the weekend off, do a little relaxing, and good to hear that you're out there and enjoying the action. This is JohnE McCray for birdie.
Nose angle just wasn't quite right. JohnE is one of the best push putters in the world, and push putting is entirely contingent upon nose angle and following through. And he had his nose down just a little bit, didn't quite follow through. Paul McBeth is in for the easy cleanup for the 3. And we've got Zach Newhouse looking at a 3 here as well.
And that almost wanted to slip out the backside. I've got to say, if you were to put money on the birdie count here from our lead card, you would never have guessed that we were going to see just one birdie. We're moving on to hole 11.
Basket.
Yes! What just happened, Paige? Nice job.
Thanks.
Tell us about it.
Threw it in. Second time this week, baby.
Nate Sexton going with a backhand shot, which is on the right side. That's actually a pretty good position to be. He's going to be slightly uphill. Paul McBeth second to tee.
McBeth's disc needs to hyzer just a little bit, but never mind. It can just go where it wants. It's about 15 feet past the basket. Great shot with his T-bird.
And JohnE McCray is indicating that the competitors on the next hole, hole number 12, he's going to stand down and wait for them to putt. Looks like we have Simon Lizotte putting to the elevated green on hole 12 and up and over the basket. We see holes 10, 11, and 12 somewhat parallel one another, and so if there's a little bit of congestion, works out well for us just to stand down, give them a little bit more breathing room. They'll move on to 13, and that'll give us clear sailing on both 11 and 12.
And Kiloviska just drains the 30-footer on the elevated basket. That's a great putt by him. We want to give you a brief score update. If you go to pdgalive.com, thank you so much to the PDGA for providing us with live scoring. We see that through 12 holes, Ricky Wysocki is 11 under par. So he is absolutely shredding the course right now. He's tied with McBeth for the lead. We've got Simon Chris Clemens and Nate Sexton just one shot off that pace right now. So a lot of great disc golf happening out there today.
We also see that Philo Brathwaite is in the clubhouse with a 12 under, bringing his overall score to 13 under for the tournament. And Alex Geisinger went from even par to 12 under today. Solid rounds, taking advantage of the scoring that you talked about earlier out here at the Jones course. And what that's really telling us is that this leader guard is going to need to pick things up and get going here if they want to stay ahead of the rest of the pack here. So very, very good scoring conditions, as we've talked about.
Absolutely, and I mean, you'd think 7 under through 8 would be pretty good out here, but that's why I said when the competition is this high, every par feels like a bogey.
McCray's shot is hyzering off to the left. He, again, had that slight delay. He normally likes to get up and throw very quickly. Standing down for hole number 12's putting might have slightly taken him out of his rhythm. Here's Zach Newhouse looking to get back on track. And Zach lets out a grunt as he is going right of the Mando. That is going to be a penalty, and his disc is wet. Tragic error for Zach Newhouse. We're moving to the drop zone. Let's see what the women did earlier on 11. Back to it then. And Zach has approached. Well, there's one guy that did it right here a few years ago. Billy Engel, finding himself on SportsCenter just 2 years ago. Let's take a look. A perfect looking line going right toward the basket. And Billy has just hit an ace. That was awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, Billy Engel acing hole number 11 right here on SmashBoxxTV.
Punched against the
Oh,
fence.
nice.
Glad you're carrying it.
Welcome back to hole number 11. A moment ago we saw JohnE McCray with a long, somewhat of a step putt. He was outside the circle. Nate Sexton is also outside circle's edge. Circle's edge, or the circle, as we've referenced throughout the show, for those of you who may not know, that is generally referred to as the 10-meter circle, so approximately 33 feet. And that's anytime a player is inside that 10-meter circle, they're not allowed to fall forward, as Nate Sexton just did. And again, Nate from outside circle's edge is in for the sweet birdie with a nice looking gallery behind him. A little extra pep in his step, as they say. Paul McBeth, he's going to set the bag down and tap in here. This is another very simple straddle putt here for Paul. He converts. Zach Melton, or
Newhouse.
correction, Zach Newhouse. I knew there'd be one today where I've done that. Zach Newhouse is ready to get off of this stretch of holes. He struggled on both 9 and 11. And he's going to be moving on here in just a few moments. We'll be back with you right here at the Glass Blown Open.
my friends.
For me, it's a walk in the park.
For me, it's my job. Go in. Oh.
For me, it's all about the exercise.
For me, it fits into my busy lifestyle.
For me, it's my passion.
For us, it doesn't cost much to play.
For me, it's fun.
I'm Ricky Wysocki, and I'm wondering who's going to be the next generation.
Somebody's going to win a car. Is it going to be you?
Hey, Simon. What? You know who's next? Me? No, someone else. So just do it! Make your dreams come true!
Nate Sexton going with the forehand shot, coming in nicely. You can't ask for a better stick than that.
No, that was perfect. And every once in a while you can get a bad skip off those rocks or wood chips, but he stuck it right in the rocks, and he's on top of the stone assembly. That'll be a drop in too.
Paul McBeth teeing again, a massive gallery behind our competitors. That vantage point tracking in on hole number 12. Paul McBeth with a good shot, but as you're standing there up on the tee of 12, you're also seeing action from hole 15. You can see a little bit from 14, and it's just a really good spot to be. This is JohnE McCray.
JohnE's shot has come out quite a bit wider than he wanted. He's still going to be around the circle's edge, but this basket is quite elevated, and it won't make as much of a difference today, but most days when the wind is up, this is a difficult basket to run at.
Do usually want to be as close as possible, and of course that's a good general pro tip, but
right,
especially on an elevated basket in the wind. And Zach has come up short. They're going to move down the fairway, and we'll see how the women did earlier on hole 12. Over here, Gary. You walking them all in? Yep, you got it.
They're walking in everywhere, buddy. I got them.
Welcome back here to the green, elevated green that is, on hole number 12. Zach Newhouse, who's been struggling these last few holes. I'm not going to say Paige Pierce jinxed him, but he definitely is looking to get back on pace here.
Absolutely.
And there it is. I'm not going to, that's no thanks to me, just to tell him to get back on pace, but what a putt.
That's a fantastic putt. Wind picked up just a little before he went to putt, but Zach started 7 under through 8 and has struggled the last couple of holes, and so great to see him hit a long putt, kind of get his stride back here, out here on the course.
And JohnE McCray is waiting for the gallery. We know that JohnE wants to make sure that everyone is in position He seems to be easily distracted, but actually Paul McBeth is going to be up to putt first. And McBeth was right. Now, tell me, was JohnE maybe confused? I was looking at JohnE that whole time, and it looks like McBeth went out of turn almost.
Yeah, I think so. And JohnE's, what was a crosswind for Zach is now a headwind for JohnE, and his putt lifted just a little. I think he was waiting on the guys on 14's basket to putt, and so McBeth didn't have any distractions. He just decided to go. And there's a tap in. That was a fantastic Firebird shot by Nate Sexton.
So on hole number 10, we see Nate Sexton with the lone birdie. And then again on hole number 12, we see Nate Sexton with the lone birdie.
Except for that Zach Newhouse also got a birdie.
Oh, I was kidding about that. But Zach also birdied, and I don't know what I'm talking about. So we're going to move on to hole 13, which is different from how we saw it last year. And welcome back to hole number 13. As we left the previous hole where I was screwing up all of the play calling, I said that we saw a different hole 13. We'll talk about that in a moment as Nate Sexton is ready to tee. Sexton goes with a backhand, and most importantly, this is a shorter pin.
That's right. This hole 13 used to play past the tree line up and to the right, but because of some construction and muddy areas, they decided to move this pin shorter to the left. So the tee sign reads 325, but it is not that. It's closer to 410 to 430.
Looks like Zach may have had the nose up just a little bit. Of course, playing the hyzer angle, however, it looked like maybe somewhat of an elevated release and not getting the distance he was hoping for.
This is honestly a difficult pin to reach if you're not a 500-foot thrower, because this is a flat hyzer shot the whole way. There's OB all over the place, so it's relatively difficult to get close to. Well, this guy's a power thrower, so he just goes, Paul McBeth just goes with a huge sky hyzer coming into the green nicely, gets a little skip and scoot, and yeah, well, that's why he's the highest rated player in the world. That was a fantastic tee shot.
And we have a dog now that's running around. I'm not going to call out Justin Atwater Taylor for the dog that he is apparently trying to track down. That is not Justin Atwater Taylor's dog.
Johnny McCray opts for a giant hyzer with a disc the giant and a huge hyzer.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Yeah, that's right. Not even on purpose. And he's coming just deep, so he'll have an inside the circle putt.
Let's see how the women played earlier on hole 13.
Just stick hard. Hey.
Robert, you mentioned the OB that is, of course, long and left of this pin. Zach has come up short of both of them, but really that's just a pitch up. He's going to take a 3. He'll move on. As you said, this is really a power thrower hole.
Yeah, and that's an unrunnable putt. If you're a right-hand backhand putter, maybe. I don't know who's a right-hand forehand putter, but anyway. That putt is finishing toward both sides of the OB. And so this grass catches pretty well, but regardless, you can't run that. Nate Sexton is a little bit closer. He's about 40 feet, so guaranteed he'll be putting this confidently.
Sexton sits at 17 under par along with Paul McBeth. And he's off the metal, and I have to move as he carries to the OB off of that putt, hitting the side of the basket. What an unfortunate break for Nate Sexton. Wow, and again, I'm looking at the leaderboard of the leader card here today, so not looking at just the PDGA Live. And it's in for Johnny McCray. Looking again at this board, McBeth and Sexton were both at 17 a few moments ago. I think we're going to see a 2-stroke swing on that. McBeth is tapping in for the easy birdie, and McCray will move to 12 under par, and Zach Newhouse will remain at 11 under par. What an unfortunate break. We talked about the OBs on both sides of that basket, and no one thought, well, it might hit the side of the basket and roll 25 feet to the OB.
Yeah, that's just a really unfortunate break, to tell you the truth. That's one of the perils of holes like this is discs are round, and sometimes when they catch an edge, they roll, and sometimes when they roll, it hurts your feelings a lot, and that's what's happened to Nate right here.
Well, it's going to hurt the scorecard with a bogey 4 that he's tapped in for. Zach will take the 3. We've got a great pace now moving. We're looking at just the last third or so of the course. You're enjoying the Glass Blown Open. We'll be back after a word from our sponsors.
Disc golf is a sport growing in popularity all over the United States and around the world. Dynamic Discs is the premier disc golf manufacturer, distributor, and retailer for enthusiasts, beginners, experts, and hardcore players. Along with hosting some of the best professional disc golf association tournaments in the country, Dynamic Discs also takes pride in offering the best customer service in the disc golf industry. At Dynamic Discs, customer service isn't just a department, it's the way we do business. Our entire staff at Dynamic Discs is knowledgeable and passionate about growing the sport and providing you with an exceptional experience. We know how important it is to get the products that you order in your hands as quickly as possible. Orders are shipped immediately from our own inventory and arrive at your doorstep in 2 to 3 days to almost any location around the United States. Check us out at dynamicdiscs.com.
Welcome back to hole number 14 here at Jones East. Terry Miller, the disc golf guy, joined by Robert McCall. Robert, we're being treated to some pretty good golf, but everyone else is trying to make a charge from some other cards.
Absolutely, and we saw just a moment ago Ricky Wysocki now is 12 under through 15 holes, and so he's putting together quite the round. The last 3 holes on this horse, there's cool, that's horses out here. Well, the last 3 holes on this course play very well for someone with a strong forehand. Holes 16, 17, and 18 are very attainable with a shot like that, and so I kind of expect to see Wysocki finish at 14 or 15 under par, which will likely tie him for the lead, or maybe just leave him a couple strokes behind. Paul McBeth currently leads by 1 stroke as he's 18 under par. Ricky is at 17, and then Simon Lizotte, who's 10 under through 13, is 16 under par.
Paul McBeth on the tee with the honors after the great birdie from hole number 13. Plays this as a wide hyzer, and there is danger behind the basket, but he doesn't need to worry about it. He is pin high with the basket with a relatively flat putt, a little bit of a downslope behind the pin if you were to actually go past it. But Johnny McCray would love to duplicate that effort.
Absolutely. This is a really, really tricky drive. The OB swings in toward the basket, and I mean, it's just those are perfect drives. Like that's just all there is to it. If you cut off a little too early left, you can go out of bounds early, and then it's automatic 4. These guys are making this hole look pretty easy. Zach Newhouse has taken quite a bit wider hyzer. It looks like he's not really trying to attack this hole so much as just put something in play, and he's done exactly that. He'll have a routine upshot for a par 3 here. And then Nate Sexton is tied for 3rd right now at 16 under par, and he's got that orange Stable Destroyer in his hand he's been using for a lot of big hyzer shots, so this is likely going to track the pin.
And with the change on hole number 18, making it a little bit shorter, I would not be surprised if one of our competitors were to possibly 2 out from here on for the last 4 or 5 holes. Sexton, again, he's a little bit short, and that's going to make for a challenging approach. Let's see how the women did earlier right here on 14.
Thank you.
Behind me is Jeremy Colling throwing his drive as we watch Zach Newhouse throw his approach to 15 feet right of the pin. We talked about this being a solid drive, but do you really think this is a putt that Sexton should be giving a solid run at, or is this going to be somewhat of a soft attempt?
It may be a soft attempt, but as I said, the grass out here grabs discs pretty well, and so I think it's likely that he runs this. Yeah, it was a half run, just like you said. It looks like he used this dart right there, so if it stayed in the air long enough, maybe he sneaks it in, but otherwise that was a safe run, sure.
McCray turned and asked the rest of the group if he was in fact outside the 10-meter circle. They agreed. We saw a step putt that hit off the front of the basket, just a bit tentative. Paul McBeth left with the last opportunity of birdie here on 14. Here's a straddle.
And McBeth's putt is left side and in. Great conversion for him for birdie 2. Now you may be looking at the back of Paul's head and thinking, was he trying to cut his own hair and just slipped a little with the razor? And he claims that it's because he adjusts his hats quite a bit, and there's a tag that's pulling some hairs out. But I don't know if the disc golf guy is buying it. I'm also not sure if I'm buying it.
I'm not buying it. I believe that was an attempt at an Adidas logo to be put there.
That's right.
And then when that did not work out, there was a slight adjustment to try and recover.
Yeah, taking sponsorship to the next level.
It really was, and McCray taps in. We're moving on to 15 with all the haircuts. Welcome back to hole number 15. We're watching the chase card clear out of the basket area. I think they call that a green. In fact, I'm going to get up on my golf lingo here.
I have heard it called that before.
Yes, at 351 feet. We're here on hole 15. Paul McBeth is motioning for the car to come on through. He's looking for as few distractions as possible. I'm not sure if this guy thinks this is a parade. Hopefully he's throwing candy out at the rest of us coming through.
You would like that, wouldn't you?
I'm just saying. All right, apparently he doesn't have any candy. He just wants to look tough.
That's right. And hey, mission accomplished. You did it, buddy.
Paul McBeth here on the tee on hole 15. And McBeth opts for the Sky Spike hyzer. Not everybody can take that shot.
No, it's actually, if you've got about 420 or 30 feet of power, you can throw a hyzer here, just off the back of the box. It's not as big a spike as it looks. It's actually more of a wide angle than a high one. JohnE McCray's gone putter straight up the middle. Looks like he's turned a bit to the right. He'll be down below the basket, but putting back up.
Newhouse has a Drew Gibson forehand lined up. He's going to be playing it out over the road.
And he's actually switched out the Drew Gibson for a new Lucid Sparkle Defender, a really overstable defender. Gets a little ground action. It looks as if he's waiting for it to sit down, but that'll be certainly inside the circle. Nate Sexton has gone back to his star Excalibur. The line looks perfect, and it's finished just over the top of the basket.
The women played hole 15 earlier. Let's take a look.
Good shot, Cap. Oh, nice little fancy.
Welcome back to the green of hole number 15. JohnE McCray will be putting first. He's got to wait for the spotter and everyone else to stand perfectly still, myself included. Again, I think I won in that game of statue. I was directly in his line, and JohnE McCray with the step putt converts, making it look easy.
Yeah, nice little hyzer finish there. No worries about the wind at all. Here's Nate Sexton from about 18 feet.
And Sexton also with the birdie. It looks like we may have a star frame in order. I mentioned it earlier. It would be very possible for our card to go with twos from here on out. There's lots of birdie opportunities as we finish out. Zach converts, and of course McBeth finds himself within 10 feet. We're going to have a slight uphill walk to the tee of 16 in just a few moments. Stay tuned as we're bringing you the final few holes during round 2 at the Glass Blown Open 2017.
Are you new to disc golf? Or maybe you've been playing for a while and just saw some pro smash it with a Dynamic Discs Defender. But you're just not sure that disc is right for you. If any of this describes you, then the Dynamic Discs Buyback Program is for you. Just go to any of our buyback retailers and purchase a disc from Dynamic Discs, Latitude 64, or Westside Discs. Try out that disc for 14 days, and if you're not completely satisfied with that disc, take it back and get it replaced with whatever disc you want in the store of any brand. Go to dynamicdiscs.com/retail to find a buyback retailer near you and get out there and play some disc golf.
It's a secret to good OB
painting?
Yeah.
There isn't one. Just paint. Walk for about 10 miles.
Yeah.
About 10 miles.
And welcome back to hole number 16. Again, Terry Miller, the disc golf guy, joined by Robert McCall on a gorgeous Friday afternoon here in Emporia, Kansas. We're at the Jones East Park, which is a 36-hole complex at the Jones Park. We've got amateurs playing over on the West Park portion of the park, and we couldn't ask for better weather. Looking forward to tomorrow for Championship Saturday.
Absolutely. The Jones Park is a fantastic complex, in my opinion, and yes, I'm sure on the chat you'll say I'm biased and I'm a homer and all those things, but I think the Jones courses are, well, specifically Jones East is one of the best park courses I've seen. It's always well taken care of. The tee signs are fantastic out here. Shout out to Timp and Kevin, our graphic designers. They're my next door neighbors in the office. But yeah, I think this course is just, it's green and lush, and it's super fun to play, challenging at times, some available birdies, so I love getting to play out here. Love getting to see the best players in the world play out here to really see what's possible.
Well, here we're going to be on hole number 16. They're getting ready right now. We'll show you a slight downhill. It kind of has two different tiers even, and there's an initial drop and then a further drop near the basket. There's danger behind the basket. If you were to go really deep, you may not only find the OB, but you just may have an obstructed putt. There's some wooded areas back there.
There's actually not out of bounds behind the basket. It's all casual behind, but it might as well be out of bounds if you find yourself in the wrong spot. There are bushes and trees and a lot of things that can make putting out difficult, and so this hole is all about distance control. It's 375 downhill. It plays probably closer to 320 or 30 feet, so we'll likely see our competitors throw some distance drivers, but maybe as slow as the mid-range.
What a great recovery for me after this screw up. Thank you so much, Robert. We're here on 16's tee with our competitors, but what I believe is happening is they're waiting on 17's group to actually clear out. So 17, the second card is throwing on hole 17. So here the leader card is waiting because a very errant hyzer or a sawed-off shot may land in 17's teeing area.
Right.
So that's why we're actually standing down, and you and I are, I think, what they call filling time.
That's right. Well, honestly, it would have to be a really, really awful shot for these guys to come close to 17's tee, but from the tee, you can see those people over there. And so just to eliminate distractions, they're going to wait and take their time, as it is well within their right to do. And if you're out at a tournament and you're worried about taking too much time on something like that, it is within your rights as a player to take the time that you need for all distractions to clear. So absolutely do that.
Well, with the Adidas logo in his head, Paul McBeth's on the tee.
McBeth has opted for a Pro Rock 3, and it's holding on a great slight hyzer. He's waiting for it to get down. As the cameraman near the green turns, it might have found its way into the bushes, but the distance seemed pretty good. I expect him to be inside 20.
Johnny McCray with a putter off the tee. You talked about that earlier. It's slowly drifting toward the pin, and it looks to be just deep. Great effort by McCray. Zach Newhouse will be third to throw.
Zach Newhouse opts for what I believe is an EMAC Truth. He's put a good angle on it. It's going to finish left of the basket, but once you're around that area, there are a lot of putts available to you, and the wind is a little blocked off by the trees most of the time.
And Sexton plays out over to the left side, playing that forehand flex shot back, and that should work as he's just deep. Let's check in with the women from earlier on hole 16.
Throw it. Just throw it.
Yeah, Paige?
Robert, we've mentioned it a few times here today. There is a massive gallery that has joined us for this Friday afternoon round. Our disc golfers are putting the work in. We see Paige Pierce with a very solid round going after a little rough patch in the beginning. She's got just 2 holes to play. Let's see if Zach can finish this out strong.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a Friday night trickle, if that's a thing. But that's in, and that's for birdie.
I'm relatively sure that's not a thing.
And no problems for Nate Sexton. He cleans up. Looks like Paul McBeth may have penetrated into that wooded area, and we'll see if anything stopped him.
He seems to be stopping pretty close, so
there he is.
He'll have difficult footing, but his arm looks to be free.
So McBeth wants to continue the birdies that we've seen here on 16. Johnny McCray is within 15 feet and all but given drop in for hole 16 birdie. And McCray has, McBeth. He really is challenged here by the few of the branches and shrubs between him and the basket. I'm guessing he's going to convert still. High and tight, like his haircut.
Got him.
Got him. Johnny McCray, again, and all but easy tap in. Love seeing another star frame here on 16. Just 2 to go. Let's see how Paige can continue through the rest of her round, along with our lead card here at Jones East.
For me, it's time with my friends.
For me, it's a walk in the park.
For me, it's my job.
For me, it's fun.
Welcome back to hole number 17 here at Jones East. Coming in at 405 feet, slightly downhill, with OB to the right and way deep. McBeth with a forehand destroyer. Looks like he's got the right angle on it. Coming in, it's a little bit deep of the basket. He may have a similar putt to what he had on the previous hole with a little obstruction. A few tree branches in his way. JohnE McCray to tee second. And Johnny's is flexing out. It looks like it's going to be stable and finishes left of the pin. A Hand-Eye Supply stamped disc here by Zachary Newhouse. What's he throwing?
Yeah, this is a Lucid Defender, the same one that Paige was saying she gave him that she gave to him a few days ago. And this hole sets up really well for someone with a good forehand. Zach needs to just settle on the edge of the woods, and he'll be at about 40 feet right there.
And with Zach returning to the leader card, we have officially stat checked that he is the highest finishing Canadian to return to the lead card after being on the lead card the previous year and falling off hard. He's come back and he's here again. Quite a stat.
You must have a really hard-working stat department to pull that obscure stat out.
That's what we do at SmashBox. This is Nate Sexton. That's dialing in. Some hands are getting thrown up. He's a little deep. Let's see how the women move on to hole 17. Robert, we are moving in on just about a 2.5-hour round here. I'm not going to lie, I love it. I love providing the live broadcast that's relatively short and concise, along with great play from our sport's top competitors. Thank you guys for tuning in to SmashBoxxTV along with Dynamic Discs. We're here for the Glass Blown Open, and tomorrow, Championship Saturday. And Zach Newhouse trying to put on that birdie finish along with the rest of the group. He had a little hiccup there on 9, 10, and 11, but today trying to finish it out strong. And we invite all of you to come out to the Festival of Flying Discs right next door to the commercial retail store on Commercial Street at the Dynamic Discs retail store. So come check that out. Here's JohnE McCray.
And our all-star finish has sadly come to an end. JohnE McCray is just high off the band, but it looks as if Paul McBeth's gone a little deep as well, so he's going to have a difficult putt. I like to see Zach Newhouse stringing some birdies together here. He's a fantastic human being and a really good disc golfer, and I like the guy. It's fun to see good people play well.
Well, and as I said, with that record about returning from Canada and the highest finish, it just he's got a lot of good things going for him.
You're exactly right.
Did you say exactly right?
Ooh.
This is McBeth from one knee.
Never really had a chance. It looks like he had a low ceiling and really would have had to push it to get that in the basket. Just didn't quite get it up high enough. And so last to putt will be Nate Sexton. He looks to be only about 20 feet from the basket, but will certainly have to take a straddle stance as well. Oh, a knee straddle stance.
So as Nate Sexton gets in place, we have Paul McBeth will remain at 21 under par overall. We've got Ricky Wysocki in the clubhouse at 18 under par. And then we also have Chris Clemens at 18 under par and Simon Lozada 18 under par. If Sexton can birdie, and he does, he will move to 19 under par. If Nate Sexton pars or birdies, he will remain on the leader card for tomorrow.
Yeah, 18 sets up really well for a forehand shot, so I would, if I was a betting man, I would bet that we see a birdie from Nate Sexton on the next.
2 out of 4, I should say, on 17. JohnE McCray will tap in. We'll see you in a few for the 36th hole at the Glass Blown Open.
I'm Ricky Wysocki, and I'm wondering who's going to be the next generation.
Somebody's going to win a car. Is it going to be you?
Hey, Simon. What? You know who's next? Me? No, someone else. So just do it! Make your dreams come true!
And Zachary Newhouse finds himself on the tee with the honors for the 18th hole of the round. He's got a slight tailwind, maybe a little bit over his left shoulder. You talked about how this sets up so nicely for a forehand shot. Nate Sexton and Zach Newhouse with a slight advantage here with those excellent forehands. Paul McBeth may do the same.
Yeah, Zach's gone with a Fusion Enforcer, and it's tracking right at the basket. Great shot. Little kick into the woods, but I think he's close enough that that won't matter too much.
Nate Sexton, we've seen him throw his Star Excalibur countless times over the last 2 rounds. Will be his shot of choice here on 18.
Sexton's line is near perfect. He just needs a little skip, and he's gotten exactly that. He looks to be almost parked for his birdie 2 to finish out the round.
And as we wait for Paul McBeth, he's also going with a forehand. I'd like to thank all of the media efforts here. Thanks to Bobby Brown for the organization. John Hollingshead here doing the official photography, along with Joe Metz Productions, Central Coast, SmashBoxxTV. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in and enjoying the action. This is McBeth. He's got the lead. He's going to maintain it with that and even extend it if he birdies.
That's a great That's a great smooth forehand shot that just stood up enough. That was beautiful. And I bet we'll see a putter here from JohnE McCray.
It doesn't matter if it's a turnover or a hyzer. JohnE McCray's throwing that putter anywhere and everywhere. If it finishes out, he'll have a good look from there. And he is. Let's see how the women finished out 18. McBeth converts as expected. Very close to the OB line. He walks himself in. And a nice applause. Nate Sexton is inside 15 feet with a straddle.
Easy putt for Sexton as he finishes out another solid round. From a similar position to Nate, maybe a little bit more inside the bushes, but not much, will be Zach Newhouse. It's been really fun to watch him today. Got off to a hot start and struggled a bit in the middle, and then has really strung together several birdies to finish out this round.
Birdieing from 15 on. This is Zach Newhouse. There it is. Great close for Zach. JohnE McCray has less than 10 feet. And McCray will give the patented overhand turbo putt as they congratulate one another on their round. We're going to see if we can move into wrap things up here. It's been an amazing day out here, Robert. We're here at the Veteran Basket thanks to Dynamic Disc. Enjoying the day, I think, is exactly how we came out here. Our players did, all of the spectators did. We're looking forward to tomorrow. I wish we could carry some of this over.
Yeah, absolutely. And the scores that we saw today are, I can't tell you how abnormal they are out here. Most of the time we've got a little bit of wind, some different conditions, and today it was perfect. And we saw several players score in the 40s. And at Worlds, I think we maybe had 3 or 4. I can't remember to be sure. Great day for scoring, great day for disc golf, and as a fan of the game, this was one of my favorite days we've had so far.
The flow was great. Everyone had a really good time out here. Every one of our competitors experienced a little bit of a hiccup at one time or another, and it was great watching them. We feel like that's one of the best parts about the live disc golf is you can watch how things not only unfold, but how the players recover and what they're doing and what they're thinking, and as they experience some hurdles, how they overcome them. So it's been really amazing to see that. It's been amazing to be here in Emporia taking in all the action. We've talked about how the community embraces us. We've been at the Bourbon Cowboy enjoying times. We've been at the Brickyard. We'll be at the Dynamic Disc Distribution Center, which is a mouthful. Yes. We'll be out there tonight. The Disc Golf Guy channel will be bringing you a live nightly recap, but maybe even more fun and important than that is a Swedish bonfire?
That's right. It's about to get real with the Swedish bonfire. I'm pretty sure and I'm sure the fact checkers will correct me, but I'm pretty sure they do a bonfire to signal the beginning of spring. And so what I've heard is that Johannes Holberg is how I would say it, but he's, he would say it better. It's his name. He apparently sings a sweet spring song, so prepare yourselves for that. It's going to be really cool. Johannes was working at Latitude 64. He's a great guy.
All right. Well, this has been JohnE. It's been a great day, as we said. We'd like to thank Dynamic Disc for all of the support here at this PDGA National Tour, along with the PDGA and Steve Dodge, the Disc Golf Pro Tour, Central Coast, JohnE Productions, John Hollingshead, Bobby Brown, and everyone on the media team. Thank you guys so much for giving us this opportunity to bring you the live disc golf. For my crew, including Gary to the O on camera, along with Chad Idman, Johnny V back at the controls in Milwaukee, along with Robert McCall and myself, Terry Miller. This is the Disc Golf Guy. We've had a great time. We'll see you tomorrow when you step inside the Smash Box.